Welcome to Keep What You Earn, a show for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to scale and build enterprise value without making costly mistakes. I'm your host, Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CFO and CPA who left a career serving Fortune 50 companies in Wall Street to help business owners just like you make life-changing wealth with your business. These episodes are meant to be super tactical and actionable, but please remember, consult your own financial professional before you implement anything you learn in this podcast. Now, if you'd be interested in working with us to do so, check out the show notes for more information about our company, Keep What You Earn Co. All right, let's start the show. So today I want to talk about what I think is your most expensive habit as a business owner. It was mine. It still is mine. And that is distraction. Distraction is insanely expensive because not only does distraction waste time, and time is money, but time is money multiplied as a CEO. Your decisions compound across the whole business. Every hour that you're distracted can ripple into wasted days across your team and beyond. And there's a massive opportunity cost because you were busy with things that didn't matter and didn't spend time on the things that did. And when you set the tone as a leader, you have a strategic vision that starts to erode. Because when you're a distracted leader, you create a distracted organization. You also serve as the example. So if people are constantly seeing you get distracted, veering off, then they're also going to not only do the same thing themselves, but actually start to distrust you in the things that you say. So if you say something is important, and then the next day you've changed your mind and moved on to something else, then they're really not going to listen to you. They're going to take everything you say with a grain of salt. And I have former colleagues, bosses, clients that have all done this. So how does distraction actually show up? So by distraction, I mean a few things. The one is shiny object syndrome. If you're chasing new platforms, tools, strategies, if you're basically have a business that works. So if you have a business that's actually working, generating cash flow, but you feel this craving to go and do a second thing. So I have a great business. It's thriving. I have a great service. I'm going to go coach other people on how to do the same thing. I'm going to go and create a product. I'm going to go and create the other thing. While diversification can be good, focus is actually what will serve you probably until the $3 to $5 million revenue point. You need to remain focused. I think that when you dilute your focus, you dilute the results, you dilute the energy, and you need to stick to the core profit engine of what you are actually doing. By pivoting to launch something new while you're mid-growth, you're taking away so much of that momentum, so much of it. The other thing is when you're constantly firefighting and you're in the details of your operations, instead of empowering the team, you're now knee-deep in all the stuff that you got to be doing to get them out of whatever rut they're in. And the problem with that is that by getting your hands dirty and going down with them, although quite honorable sometimes, you are distracting yourself from the bigger problems because you're getting caught up in the little things. And you might be doing this because, hey, you know how to solve the little problems and you know how to do it more easily. And you'll get a dopamine hit from solving easier problems than the ones you should be tackling. Because let's be real, you might be chasing the easier problems, like reviewing every little invoice or client deliverable. You should be building processes. You should be sitting atop all of that and letting the people who you've hired to serve handle all that stuff. The other way distraction shows up is honestly the very direct, literal distraction of the doom scroll, of comparison, of the noise of the internet, social media, all the things. So over consuming. You've got your podcasts, you've got advice, masterminds, webinars, competitors. And because of all of that, you could be having reactive decisions instead of proactive strategy. And by that, I also mean that you shouldn't take this as don't take action from reading and listening to things. I've been known to go for a walk, listen to a podcast, and literally stop in my tracks, write down in a sauna things I need to go do because I was so inspired. That's awesome. And I do also contain that energy with a list of things and then revisit it later when it becomes a priority. But we distract ourselves by over-consuming new information when we haven't really implemented the stuff we've already learned. How many of you have unfinished books on the shelf or unfinished audiobooks, podcasts, where you're like, yeah, I'll get around to doing that at some point. No, you won't. Unfinished courses, you name it. And that's okay. But if you really want to get something done, if you really had an intention when you bought that thing or enrolled in that thing or signed up that you were going to finish it, well, then finish it and don't let distraction get the best of you. The last thing is just in general, I think that distraction can really come up with personal life stuff. When it comes down to it, burnout's a real thing. Trying to multitask, trying to be everything to everyone, it's just not going to serve you. And the best thing you can do is just commit to certain areas of focus and say, I'm going to be focused between X and Y time frame. I'm in my office pretending I'm literally at work. I'm not working from home. And then when I leave my office, that threshold, like I leave my computer back there and I'm also focused on my family, my husband, everything. You have to draw some lines of where am I undistracted? And I think distraction gets the best of us both ways, distracting us from our business, but also distracting us from life and dragging us back in can also do some damage. So that's why I think it's the most expensive habit for a multitude of reasons, but mostly because I think that it holds you back. It's like pulling an e-brake on your growth. When you can't stay laser focused on your goals and you start veering off and choosing new routes, imagine you were driving a car and you program a GPS, but like every 5 minutes you change the destination. Like you're never going to get where you're going. You're never going to go to a destination. It's like the never ending, where do you want to eat for dinner? It's the never ending, driving around aimlessly. You have to have focus and an idea. Like you have to set a North Star, set some type of, goal, something that drives your focus for the quarter or for the year. Only pursue the opportunities that align with your strategic goals. So ask yourself when you start a new project, is this serving one of these 3 or 4 or 5 goals that I had this year? If not directly, or if you have to like justify up and down and explain it away, then it probably doesn't serve. You also have to delegate a lot because in doing so, it will empower you to do the higher level tasks. You've got to schedule that focus time, as I talked about. And here's the hard part. Audit your distractions. Actually audit your distractions. Like figure out where you got pulled off, figure out why those things were unfinished, what pulled you away, what was the shinier thing that you got pulled from. And honestly, here's one more tip. Count how many things you say no to and strive to increase that over time. Because the more things you say no to and you get practice saying no to them, the more juicy the yeses will feel because they'll be the really right yeses. Don't get me wrong. In the early stages of business, you're going to say yes a lot. But as you're growing, you're growing beyond seven or so figures, you need to be focused on saying no more than yes. You need to be protective of your time. You need to be protective of your focus and your attention. And that is the only way you're going to grow sustainably in the right pace. It will take you so much longer to grow if you don't focus, if you don't keep your eye on the prize. And the hard part is a lot of business owners don't really know what that looks like in terms of measurement and how to get there. Heck, we help with business owners with this all the time. We are helping navigate to, hey, what's that North Star look like? What should we be focused on? And we even challenge all the time our clients and say, hey, is that decision serving your goals for the next 3 to 5 years? We have one client who wanted to buy a business and that's not in the game plan for the next 3 to 5 years. So we said, hey, while this might be a juicy opportunity, it seems, does this actually get you closer or not? Whether that be closer to, further away from, or just not closer to your goal. And he said, it doesn't really get me closer to my goal, no. So, okay, so are we going to change the goal or are we going to say no? And that's a really hard question sometimes to answer because you want to have it all. You want to have both. But if you were to treat your time and energy as finite and limited and budgeted, where would you spend it? On the thing that will help you accomplish the goal that you set out or on the thing that sounds like a good idea right now? And it's hard to delay that gratification, but I promise you it will pay off in the long run. Okay, so if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know I love talking about profit and cash flow. But if you've mastered these things, the next level thing to be focused on is your customer value. If you have to constantly hustle to sell more and hit your revenue goals, it's important to think about how you can deliver more value, build retention, and maximize the lifetime profitability of every customer. When you invest in a power session, we're able to dive into your customer acquisition cost and determine some personalized strategies to decrease your costs and increase the lifetime value of your customers. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.